came off a little excessive. And I came in here the next day and I said, look, my instinct is to kill this kid. But I can't do it. I've cried in here about my girlfriend. About my brother's kid dying. About, honestly, just some sad stories that I've had to record. Not record, talk about. I'm an emotional guy. What you see is what you get. Than Mike, literally crying in his father's arms. So is it about the fact that it was Caleb's mom? So we think if you, what, he wants his mommy? Okay, Michael wanted his daddy. What's the difference? There isn't one. Like, there isn't one, right? I said, I understand people, and you're jealous of it? Because I'm too busy lying about it on my Facebook page to look tough. I want Andrew Tate to love me. I'm going to pretend to be tough. While Caleb's out here doing whatever the hell makes him happy. And you're beside yourself. Isn't that interesting? I've said about me. People knock me all the time for that. And I've said, go ahead, laugh. This is what it looks like. This is what it sounds like. When you don't give a damn what people think. Think what you want. Will I roast your ass if you write in something stupid to waste some time so I can push the subject I had slated for this segment off till tomorrow? Of course I'll do that. I'll take a cigarette break in here. Care about it? Not even a little. So isn't that what Caleb Williams is doing? Not caring? So you want him to listen to you. You want him to care what other people think.
Just paying attention.
But if you saw that he was caring what other people thought, now he's not a number one quarterback for that. Not for that either. Why is this a story now, Stansbury? This happened forever ago. Well, it's happened again. Caleb Williams showed up someplace the other night, and sure enough, he has drawn some attention to himself. He is wearing lip gloss. He's holding a pink iPhone, a pink wallet attached to the iPhone, and he clearly has what looks like either some pink, peach, or light red type nail polish on his nail. Do I want to dress like this to walk out of the house? No. Do I believe this means this kid cannot throw a football accurately down the football field and win? I don't know if I buy that. I don't know if I buy that. Also, at this point with Caleb, how do we know he's not trolling you?
What you want to do for dinner?
How do we know he just doesn't think all of it is funny? He's the first, this is how he's being referred to now, and it's true, he is the first full-blown NIL star to come out of that era and now enter a professional sport, or at least he will when the draft.
We got money.
What?
I said we got money.
You give a young man all that money, dude, you're going to see a lot less caring what other people think.
I'm still full.
Dedicated, look at it.
I thought you had them.
Fair enough. That's what's going to happen. That's what players are going to say. That's what the fans are going to say. That's what society, that's what everybody is going to say. But a good portion of people, that's what he's going to say. This will be part of his story. I think it's possible he showed up the other night in lip gloss, and painting his nails, pink iPhones and all that, because he knows it makes people go crazy. I think it's possible he could be trolling. I think people underestimate how much young people love that. I think you gotta remember that when you look at any video, anything, it's like they're all obsessed with being the jerky boys. They think they invented trolling. They didn't, right? But like this generation feels like they did. And I think sometimes we underestimate how much they get off on watching old people. And maybe even some of their own age group as well, because plenty of his age group people are killing it. And I mean killing it. By the way, I learned a new term because of this. Caleb Williams, and I've heard this before, it was about a year ago, and it's probably been out there a lot.
Want anything to drink?
I don't pay attention to a lot of slang.
Want anything to drink?
But Caleb Williams is apparently
Water.
zesty.
Water.
He's zesty, which means gay. Which I find interesting that the younger generation that's way more tolerant than mine was, hilarious since we were actually out there. Absolutely, as you're creating new terms to make me slow down. If you molest that, for sure lecture me today. Don't forget to do it, right? Don't forget to do that. Don't forget to lecture us. So now there's this thing. Do people forget about Dennis Rodman? So Dennis Rodman, back when he was playing with the Bulls, he mostly was doing this with Chicago. The weird hairstyles and the wedding dress, and he would show up with nail polish, and he would show up dressed like a woman. I think what people are going to tell you about the difference there is that it was always coming off as obvious that Dennis wanted to be the center of attention. Also, pretty hard to be the center of attention when Air Jordan is your team. And Rodman likes to be the thing. And so I think he went far out of his way. He was he told you he was dating certain women because he knew it would keep in the headlines. It came off much more like Dennis was trying to be an attention seeker, where people just see this out of Caleb Williams and think this is who this kid is. I think it's much like Rodman. I think he could be trolling you into the overreaction. Dennis got off on the fact that people freaked out over everything he did, which is why he kept doing other things. I think now he was more vocal about that. I think Caleb's a quieter kid, but I think there's a possibility he is absolutely trolling everybody. Absolutely everybody. I also don't really care if the kid has a pink iPhone. I don't. Every band I idolized as a kid dressed like women. Literally wearing their sister's shirts and pants on stage. Can't wait to go see him, man. Did you hear this? Hear that? Oh my God, look. Now, the difference is that guys my age grew up and went like, there's a reason. I can't get away with any of that when I'm not on the stage. Like, you need the thousands of fans. You need the thing in order for that to look right. Like, dude, if you just go to CBS like that, you look nuts. Right? Like, that's kind of how that worked. You understood that there was like this thing happening with celebrity versus just like people. Right? But I think it's possible this kid is just watching you freak out. When he's going number 1 overall, and he's going to have enough money for 10 generations worth of people, and your hatred. But if this kid should fail, get ready to not hear about how it's the Bears GM.
They'll do it. Focus on your driving.
Only a little too zesty for the NFL. I'm trying to tell you, he's zesty. Shout out to the tolerant generation on that one. I'd love to hear an explanation on that. Let's get you into STP. That show is in September. We'll get caller 15 in right now. 330-450-7625. It's toll free for you at 834. Nope, that's MMS. 800-243-7625. Sorry, you caught me working ahead a little bit already there. Next on the show, the new dating rules you and I didn't have to deal with.
Why didn't you want to put that aside?
Sure you don't want water?
No. Do you have some shake there?
Shut up, Chuck
No.
Rainer.
They might.
STP, I'll have another set of those tickets for you. don't know what we're doing next week yet. I don't know if we even know
look?
that. Can I find it?
Wait, think it's
I
in.
might be able to. What I do have here is what they're telling me are dating rules that the younger generation has to deal with that maybe you and I didn't, and maybe your parents didn't. Now, if you're out there divorced or you've never been married and you're dating around, you probably still will have to deal with some of these a little bit. So let's take a look at what these rules are. They say one of the things the younger generation has to look out for is don't fall into the pen pal trap. You've got some mutual interest built up now. This is all about dating apps. And they say you should try to suggest meeting up in real life as fast as possible to judge the chemistry and whether or not you're compatible in person. Because what can happen is you can get a little too guilty of just messaging back and forth a little bit, and you're getting a little bit of attention, which is a lot of what social apps are. And you're getting some of that, and so then you just kind of then, next thing you know, you become friends before it. And they say, quote here, don't get into an endless text relationship with a stranger where your imagination can run wild. Meet for a quick coffee after just a few texts. This does two things, they say. It gives you a reality check before you waste too much time becoming emotionally invested in a fantasy that's all been digital up to this point. Okay, I can understand that view. I can see that. They say here it's increasing dating apathy. People who are entertained by dating apps but aren't actually interested in pursuing anything, and that does happen. I think a lot of times people are flirting with somebody outside of their marriage and a similar thing. It's not necessarily, you don't really want to be doing it. You're not necessarily, you don't think you're going to cheat. It's just like, I need a little bit of attention here. I think a lot of times that can happen too on those things. I would agree. I think, you know, I like going out for a meal with somebody to get to kind of know them a little bit. That's, you know, considered to be, I don't know, bigoted now, but like I like that kind of date. But I do like this advice. I think the more you get used to one another, texting one another, the longer you wait, there's a reason why neither one of you set the date. There's something there. I could be overthinking that. God knows I've been known to do that occasionally, but I think there's something that's telling you like, maybe not this person. They also say a lot of people are worried about playing it too cool now. A new survey shows that men are becoming more vulnerable. They say don't fight that trend, embrace it. Expressing your romantic feelings is a mature action, they say. Don't hesitate to communicate your interest if you're feeling a connection. Okay, so yeah, this is sort of true and sort of not true. Like, you know, I've pushed back on women plenty of times over the 10 years I've worked here over this. It's like, man, women, some of you will talk a big game about wanting an emotional guy, and as soon as you see it, you go, pussy. Like, admit it. Like, some of you, you don't know what it is you actually want. You're just not happy with what you got now, and so you think you want the opposite thing. That could be true of men too, but we're talking about this here with that. What I would say is I don't know if standing up and telling somebody, hey, I like you, is the same thing as like emotional men. That's you knowing what it is you want and being able to stand on your own 2 feet and definitively say that. I think that's the mark of an adult, not an emotional human. But I think a lot of people do, this is men and women, too many people are trying to play it cool these days. I say it another way all the time. People are always concerned with what they're getting. And I would say, what are you sending out? Because whatever you send out should bring you back something better in return. And so I think if you're trying to play a little too cool and aloof,
Thank you so much.
especially, let's say you're divorced. Nobody's got time
Will
to
you
play
remove the
games.
plastic here?
You know what I mean? There's kids in practice and karate and stuff. And I got
You're supposed
bosses and
to.
2 jobs and all this. Dude, are you in or are you out? We're 40, right? Like, and so, like, if you're younger and you're just kind of getting into the dating thing, okay.
Strawberry banana.
But the older you are, let's not play games. What are we doing here?
Wait a minute, sweetheart.
Right? If we're just about the bone-in, then we're just about the bone-in. And
Or
can't we
smell
just
the
say
cars.
that? Like, can't we just get there? And, like, so I understand. They also say keep your online dating profiles up to date. You and I, most of us, didn't have to deal with this back in the day.
What the?
Kind of just put the profile up, or some of us were lucky enough to get
That's where I got you the
hooked up
spoon.
with people before you even needed the apps. I say us, although that's
They
not
didn't have
me.
any of the big straws.
I am partnered up, but it was not due to an app, and I thank God every day for that. I really do. I like the more traditional method. For me, I'm not making a judgment on you, and you don't care what other people think anyway, so I don't know what you're getting all upset about. But I think if you're looking to use the apps as a way to meet the person, staying up to date, making sure that it looks current, absolutely a huge asset for you. I think too many people are trying to pass off photos from 20 years ago, 10 years ago, or whatever it is. I think staying up to date is you lying less, and also their algorithms. So the more you interact with the thing, the more they're likely to push your profile to somebody else. All of these systems need users. That's what you are. You are a user, and they need you using the thing. And because that's how their activity engages. And so the more you update your profile, the more likely they are to put your profile in front of somebody else. That's the same thing. I've told you about this with eBay, like sellers. Don't go to the store, or don't go to the, the garage sale, buy 300 things and spend Saturday posting all 300 things. Get home with 300 things you bought and post 10 a day until you reach 300. You're giving eBay their action. You're giving them their new thread, new thing. And so their apps are going to work very similar. So yeah, absolutely. I think keeping your app up to date, if that's how you're looking to find a partner, keeping it up to date, absolutely going to be beneficial. We are nowhere near even the middle of this list. New dating rules for the new generation, and we'll run you through some more of these, and let's do that next.
It's cool when you get up and you feel instantly connected to the world. The Stan Speary Show. I don't know what it is. I got him on every morning.
So, then, gusto ko na.
Rock 106.
This is they're
That's interesting. And I think you're probably right. I think women probably do want a guy who's willing to tell you why they're in a bad mood when they got home from work. And yet, still not squeal like your daughter when you see a spider on the wall. Right? And like, there's a difference between a guy who's like in tune and can be honest and tell you, man, I'm feeling a little emotional about that. Or I gotta tell you, I felt a little, worried about that. You made me feel not so great about this, and I was a little suspicious about what was happening because I think there's a big difference between that and like, oh my God, honey, the bug, right? And I think there's a very big difference in those two things. Now, again, that's partially men, right? Because they want to sell it on sale, so I'm true red man and whipping ass, and like somehow that makes you a dude. Like that's kind of how thing. And it's like literally you're just falling for like what a stereotype of a television show told you a man back in the day was, and you're not letting it go. So I think Gus is a little bit right here. I think when you're with the right person,
your
emotion can be good.
If you
and maybe that is the only person you should show that emotion to. Big game coming from a guy like you does it in front of everybody. I think sometimes people forget.
Like a while ago, right?
I am paid.
I said, I will not come there.
I probably would not show you all these emotions just in my
You're rolling your
eyes. Like, there's a
Yes, they had shakes, and I said, I don't know. Come and look.
Version of you out.
Like
You want to come in? No.
Your job is to lay bare. Your job is to be honest. Your job is to, yes, care about what people think the day the ratings come out, but day in and day out while you're hosting the show, try not to think about it at all. And so there's some truth in that. I think sometimes people forget that about me. It's like, no, I'm willing to show you this because it is, I think, therapeutic, yes, but it's also how I'm making a living. You know what I mean? I love what I do. But if they weren't paying me, I was not waking up at 3:45 this morning getting in the shower to come here. That was not happening just for like the love of the game or whatever the thing is. Like that wouldn't be the thing. But I think Gus has this right.
They're dead.
I think if you're really with the right person, as long as you're not the guy who cries over every last thing, I think they're looking for a mixture, right? Be able to tell me that you're sad about something, but also don't make me change the tire in the rain, right? And like I think there's a large gray area in between those two things where you could find your person. I think Gus has that dead right. We got through that. We got through Caleb Williams wearing nail polish and still going #1 in the NFL draft. At least we believe he will. We got through Caitlin Clark, maybe going to play in the Big Three, also the WNBA. A lot of stuff we got through today. And if you missed any of it, I would urge you to pick up the podcast shortly at WRQK.com. Aside from that, I am done. Not back live again until tomorrow. Tomorrow will be your last opportunity to pick up those STP tickets from me. They're playing with Live in September. Stay safe out there, be good to one another, and do in fact meet me here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Friday's program on Rock 106.9. Hopefully you have a great afternoon, and hopefully I run into you somewhere around town.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino. With cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
I mean, I forgot to fry the fish. And the mayonnaise.
I hear a lot about make America what it used to be. I hear that all the time. It starts with you. It starts with me. It's always that man in the mirror now. Always. We talk a big game, dude. But we're all full of it. If I asked you outside and wasn't talking about the NFL, if I just was having a beer with you on Friday night and I said, man, wouldn't it be nice if Christmas was more about what it should be about, getting together with the fam? Maybe not Jesus, okay, fine. But a little slow down, talk about the fam, here's what we're going to have. Let's get together, maybe play some cards, interactive. Let's be with one another. You'll all be on your betting apps all day during all three of them games. And I know Christmas is mostly about the kids, right? So once they get the presents open in the morning, it's kind of like, dude, welcome to Wednesday. You're not wrong. But I don't know how we get to run around here telling everybody how wrong it is that people have to work on a holiday and then we celebrate when other people have to work on the holiday. If it was just the athlete who makes too much money to play the game, and that's your argument that they make too much, actually it's mine too. You know what? Let me not yell at you about that one. I think athletes do make a little too much money. If it was just them impacted, if it was just the coaches who were impacted, fine, but it isn't. Never mind the cops that have to be in the city to direct the traffic and make sure all of that's going on. Never mind that. Never mind all of the businesses around the stadiums are going to feel as if they're forced to be open to capitalize on the money that's coming in and out of their city on these days. It's not Amari Cooper. It's not Deshaun Watson, who you hate. That's not who's being impacted here. They would tell you, I'd miss every Christmas ever if I can make this money and have this legacy behind me when I'm done playing. They would all sign up for that. Every last one of them. But I don't know why I have to make them do what they want to do over the thing that doesn't matter, the money. Although it seems to matter when a Walmart CEO wants to open and sell their products. You're going to have to explain to me the difference. It's all commerce. All of it. There is no art. There is no entertainment. There is no sports. All of it is commerce.
He's a man of many talents, but he does not have the talent for keeping quiet.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the program, where I gotta be honest, I wish we didn't have to do this. I want what I'm gonna tell you right now to not be true, if I'm honest. But I think it could be. There has been a 5-decade study done. Now, this was in the UK versus the United States, although I can't imagine it would be all that different. I think this is one of those things that is probably going to be able to be universally applied across humans versus, the region that human hails from. But a 5-decade UK study tells us that aggression at school and playground bullies make more money throughout their life. They end up with better paying jobs when they're middle aged than the people they picked on. The study went on to tell us that those with emotional instability went on to earn less money. Children who displayed aggressive behavior at school, such as bullying and or temper outbursts, are likely to earn more money in middle age, according to a 5-decade study that really flips on its head what you see in movies all the time, that the school, like high school football jock bully ends up working at the car wash and he works for you. But it turns out, not so much. They also say here they are more likely to have higher job satisfaction and be in more desirable jobs. Those are the researchers from the Institute for Social and Economic Research, that at the University of Essex. Now, the more desirable jobs, that one's kind of on us, right? Because you have a messed up view of what's important and what's not, what's valuable and what's not. Wide receivers make more money than cops, and they're right. So we have a crazy view of what a desirable job would be. But why are those jobs desirable? We know it's the salary, right? We're all trying to provide a better life for our children than what we had. And so you're trying to make some money, better neighborhood, better schools, better doctors, better this, and right? So that's what people are after. And that's why we look at those jobs as desirable, because if you get one of those jobs, you can provide all of those things. The paper published just this last week used data of about 7,000 people born in the 1970s whose lives have been tracked by the study. The research team examined data from primary school teachers who assessed the children's social and emotional skills when they were at 10 years old in 1980, and then matched it to their lives at the age of 46, this now back all the way in 2016. Quote, we found that those